Okay, Garamagad Camcorla, Niliscom and Robert Sugarfold. Okay, Bavalabrock or Disporot on the Hawk show. This is a very important debate, and I want to congratulate the Minister, from my perspective, who's an advocate for care of older people in her job. She's a difficult job and she fights her corner, and I will certainly always stand up for her in that respect. I have great admiration for her. I think the key thing is, if we look at the facts, and look at the facts that alone put into this debate in a report, that the care of older people is critical, and the way that they've been treated, I believe, is appalling. If we look at the alone figures for people who are at home and who need their homes to be adapted for their care, this government in this year's budget has 97 million allocated for it, but they're only going to cover 13,000 home adoption packages, whereas in 2010 there was 13,500 covered. So there's a huge issue about really funding keeping people in their home. You keep them at home physically because their environment is suitable. You keep them at home with the professional care and need that they need. You keep them out of acute hospital. And the home care is particularly important because when it works and where it does work, there's a significant reduction in acute hospital presentations for people who are elderly and people who have disability. And the facts are, Irish Independent this week, that 44% of discharges of elderly people from our acute hospitals, only 44% of them go home. 22% go into nursing home care, and the rest go into friends and relatives that look after them. So there's a huge issue here. It's an unmet need, and I think, Minister, you're going the right way in saying that the care that is needed into the future should be free at the point of contact. You shouldn't have to put your house into hock to get home care, absolutely not. Many of these people have worked, most of them have lived and worked all their lives. They've reared their families. Why in the name of God should they be lumbered with additional penalties because they're getting older? We should be supporting them 100%. And I personally would be opposed to charging the individual who unfortunately needs this care. And I think that the tax burden should be equalised and made. There should be a contribution in every social welfare contribution over a working lifetime, which meets those future needs, and that it doesn't fall on any one individual who's unlucky enough to be unhealthy in the context of having a significant disability or illness and having to stay at home. Keeping people in their home is of huge benefit to the individual, it's of huge benefit to their families, it's of huge benefit to their community. They're in a place that they know and love and where they're cared for. Putting them into a nursing home is the last thing that should happen, in my view, the very last thing, the last thing that should happen to anybody. It should be almost impossible to get into one because the quality of care should be such that in the community the services are provided. Now, there is a model for this, and it's Denmark. To the best of my knowledge, I asked the library to do some work on it for me, and home care is free at the point of delivery in Denmark. They have closed down most of their nursing homes. I repeat, most of their nursing homes are closed because people are looked after at home. And the degree and the amount of contribution, the amount of services and needs that they have are met there. Their acute hospital admissions are down because John O'Mary isn't going into an acute hospital late at night on a weekend. They don't have to go in there because they're looked after at home and their needs are met there. If you look at the people who are going to be lying in our hospital trolleys in the future, as it will happen unfortunately, an awful lot of those are elderly people who should be at home, who should never be in that hospital. And if we can intervene at an earlier stage, we can support them, we can do that. And I believe, Minister, from your perspective, I believe that's what you want, and that's what I want too. Now, there are lots of issues about privatisation. I think that the issue is that this state has the proportion of people who are in nursing homes that are privately run is 85%. There's only 15% in publicly run institutions. Absolutely. We must take over the nursing homes like the one in Lucan Lodge that can no longer be managed by the company. I don't see why the state shouldn't go in there and take it over and do the deal and provide the quality service that is needed. We need a policy of state support, of state run, and with the quality of the service that the state can provide. Every private nursing home on average, they have 3 times more healthcare assistance, but they've only 1/3 of the nursing needs that are there. So when the nursing home people saying that they're not making money, I don't believe that. But they certainly don't have the staff that they need, or the qualified staff that are in the public sector. They criticise the public sector for excellence in care. And that's a reality that we have to face as well. So I think, Minister, I know my time is short. The Count Corla, can I take the... I could go on if he doesn't come in, so I'm running at the end of a 5-minute speech that I may not have, or the beginning of one. So I think analysis, facts, best practice, let's look at them. Let's look at Denmark. Let's look at the northern economies, the so-called socially committed states. I don't have a problem paying more tax. I do not have a problem paying more tax if I get the services that I need and if they're of benefit to the community. And I hold that view firmly and strongly. And I think that if we really think about it, the value we put on older people in our society, is unacceptable. Because I said, if you've an abandoned home, the roof is gone. Okay, guys, we'll give you, to put that house back in commission, we'll give you 70,000 grand, so you can put a roof on it, you can live in it. If you have a vacant home with a roof, vacant for 2 years, we'll give you 50 grand to go in there and put it right so you can go in there and live there. But if you have a disability, and you want to adapt your home to meet that disability, we'll give you a maximum of 30,000 quid, provided you don't earn more than 30,000. And between 30 and 60,000, there is a reducing amount going to help you stay in your home. What the hell are we doing as a state? What are we doing? Clearly, we're not looking after old people the way we should. And what are we doing as well? And I'm critical of the government in this. If the elderly person who is in a nursing home, okay, well, John and Mary, you can keep all the tax, all the income you get from renting out that house. And so what does that mean? It means we're putting all the benefits behind anybody but the old person, the elder person, or the disabled person who needs them. And people have to stand up and fight for their rights. Fight like hell, because that is the battle ahead. The number of older people is growing. I think it's up by, since 2010, I think the number of people aged over 65, I might be wrong on this, I think it's about 60% increase in our population. We're living longer, we're living better lives, but obviously we have acute and long-term illnesses whose needs will have to be met. So I think a radical change. So what government is going to do it? Who will decide that? And I think that for this election to come, and as I said, Minister, I support you in what you're doing. I think it should be the top of everybody's agenda for this general election. What are you doing for older people? How do you show you care for them? And we look at, for instance, let's take another example. Let's take the nursing homes that Deputy Shortall spoke about. Over 8,000 people in our country died of COVID, and sadly, unfortunately, I see it's becoming rampant again. And I know it's not infectious as it was, but people are dying. There were deaths this week from COVID, if 8,000 children died 2 years, 4 years ago, if 8,000 children were dead because of this COVID, there would be an inquiry, there would be change, we would get ready, we would learn the lessons. And it's not about holding people accountable, it's to get at the truth. But because they're old people, nothing is happening. Time and time and time again. I'm critical of the government on this. We'll do the COVID inquiry. It's imminent, it's imminent, it's imminent. Where is it? Why isn't it here? Why don't we learn the lessons? Why don't we care enough? And I think that's the job of this Parliament and the future Parliaments, to show that we will learn the lessons. There will be another pandemic, and we have not learned any lessons from that. And that we leave too much to officialdom and to civil servants and all of that. So at the heart and at the guts of our society is a care, a concern, a love of older people, a love of children as well. They're equally, they're the most vulnerable. Youngest people, babies, I'm lucky can say, Count Corla, that we have a new grandchild, and his name is Fergus O'Dowd. So all those guys over there, watch out. There's another O'Dowd. He's 2 days old now, and he's coming hopefully here in 18 years. And by Jesus, will he fight like hell for what he believes in. I'll make sure he will. But anyway, so, we've got to show our care. We've got to show our love. We've got to really step up to the mark. And that's our challenge. And I can say it with all of the passion in my soul that I believe that's what we have to do. Everybody here, if you're lucky enough, will reach my age, and I'm 75 right now, okay? And if I'm lucky, I'll live another 10 or 15, maybe 20 years. You guys, all of us here, if we're lucky, we'll reach that age. We want to make sure that we're looked after, that the taxes that we paid in the past, our families and the commitments that they're making, that they will be valuable, and we will be held, you will be held in the esteem that we're not being held in now. We're not being held in. And that the resources of government are not, I know they're finite, but my God, people that have worked all their lives, that have reared their families, looked after their grandchildren, given their all to the state, should not be left in the situation that older people, elderly people are being left in now, and people with disability. So I rest my case, Count Corla. If you want, I'll take your job, so I'll be in the next talk. If you want to make that offer, I will definitely do it. And I'll be pretty tough on these issues. But I know I've got to stop now. I have 9 seconds left. So thank you for your indulgence. Okay.
Thank you very much. I think maybe